All right, everybody, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a great day. As per usual, we're ready to talk about the markets and what's going on. And we certainly have had some pretty decent fireworks in the futures market. The futures market was up even more before, looking towards that gap close. And then, of course, the fight between the bulls and the bears at the gap close. We'll be talking about, of course, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, a little bit on gold, stocks, everything else. It will be a little bit of a shorter live stream today, unfortunately, due to some commitments that I have. However, I think we're going to pack through a lot of value in this very short time. So let's get stuck into what's going on here in some of the markets. Did anyone get on the Snap bandwagon yesterday? That wasn't too bad. Snap really moved ahead. And I'll just quickly show everybody something I always pay attention to. Here is, let me make this bigger for everybody. This needs to be big, guys. We've got to get big. When you're blind like me, you've got to get big drawings. So look at this. Here is the bullish hammer of previous week. We noticed that was rallying fairly hard after the Monday session, etc. It actually came down, then rallied quite hard. Came through this zone. When we got that participation, it continued up. And Snap should be one of those ones, or very much could be one of these ones that continues on here ahead of earnings. Do I like it into earnings? I think it's more of a buy the rumor, sell the fact kind of thing, but that's the way it is with some of these stocks. So one to watch. If we go down to the 4-hour time frame, you'll notice the breakout that occurred, and there is some potential here, especially if we get a closure above the 79. That's another key zone that I believe Wall Street would be rallying through. So yeah, Chantal O says Snap looks great, waiting for a retest. Yeah, fair enough. Down back into the 76 kind of level. 76, 77 levels are both quite solid there. BB is pumping. We'll check it out. FAFP44 says coincidentally pins also moved. So you think it was due to the Facebook weakness? Yeah, I mean, possibly. I didn't really think about it that way, but yeah, possibly. Let's have a look at pins. I've been watching this one for a little while. Hasn't done enough for me yet, pins. Has not done enough for me yet. I need more action. But I guess if you're on a 2-hour time frame and you're looking for a little bit of recovery, you could make argument that it's very close here, the old pins, to at least finding some recovery line. I still maintain probably want this thing a little bit higher than it is right here. How far away from the earnings? 43 days. So if we are going to start moving through 43 days, I'd do some app information. I'd go find out whether the app is actually going up a little bit, whether more people are downloading it. Another good tell might be on iPhone launch day. See what people are downloading. Usually the most popular apps start to push towards the top. That can change the figures. So you might want to go check that out. Interesting. How's Snow looking? We'll have a quick look at Snow and then we'll get stuck into the indices. Snowflake 315. My target here was 320 on Snowflake. I really feel like that was a good price for it. It's not exactly a cheap stock. Resistance. There's probably, sometimes you say, is there more downside risk than upside risk? And I feel like Snow is a great company. There's a lot of great things there, but yeah, there's probably more downside risk. I'm looking for it back into the 290s, 300s. That's the area I'm looking for on Snow. All right, let's get stuck into these markets. So firstly, we've got futures here. You can see on the right-hand side, US 500, 0.57, US 100, Nasdaq 0.48. But what is going on? Will we fill back up to this area? I want to go to the SPX to really understand what's happening here, guys. This is the most notable zone right there. Why? Because it's previous support, and we've got some moving averages sitting around there. Let's have a look. Let's go to the daily. So right in this area here, what do we have? The 50 exponential moving average. Why is that important? Because we know that the 50 exponential moving average has been buying. Then something different happened. It closed underneath it. So when it goes back and retests it within our Fibonacci retracement area, is this going to be where the bears come back into the market? I would think it is. If we have a look at the SPY, there it is again. It seems unlikely to me that we bash straight through that. Not easy to do. Price would be around 441. So somewhere between 441 and 444. where the 20 moving average is. This little area here is where I feel like the market will have some problems getting through. What do you guys think? What's the chat think? You've got big brains out there, chat. You always know what's up. So what's up today? Are we going back into this promised land? Currently 440. What do you think? Unemployment numbers are not good. US initial jobless claims actual 351 versus 332. Yeah, these unemployment numbers, though, they don't really mean that much, do they, anymore? See how the market barely cares? Continuing jobless claims actual 284 versus whatever it is. Yeah, thank you very much, Scott Saunders. Appreciate the share, but that is not unfortunately, it's not really moving the market that much. Remember, non-farms pays, unemployment was an important factor. Now it's just about non-farms, really. And that's going to be the key thing. It's all about the Fed. It's all about non-farms. It's all about the tapering. But realistically, the Fed's not going to do anything surprising. They never do. A lot of people go, oh, the FOMC, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that. I want to put this at rest right now. It's not in the best interest, or like if we go back through the history of the FOMC, the history of the Fed, the history of all these things, very rarely do they bash the market around. If you look at 12 out of 12 announcements, you'll find most of them are optimistic bullish. So remember, we all have this idea in our mind. We've got to take the trade off. We're scared of the news. We're scared of this. Whatever the trend is doing tends to be the right thing. And remember, it usually is the bullish side. Now, that may change in the future, but at this point, the FOMC conferences and stuff have usually related into a positive day. Wilson says, is a dead cat bounce coming? If a dead cat bounce is coming, it's already started. Dead cat bounce really means like this, boom, and then a very quick bounce back up. This has been actually a couple of days, so I'd say it's more methodical than a dead cat bounce. Yeah, more methodical. Xander Ryan says, DXY, another rejection at the peak. You are correct. If it breaks through, then watch out. Yeah, so this is the key zone to watch. The 50 exponential around that 441 and then the 444. I would draw a box. I would be looking for reversal signals. And if I did see like something like this, little peak, little trough, little lower peak, little lower trough in, let's say, the smaller time frames, 5, 15 minutes. Remember, be nimble, be quick. Then I think you have a decent bear case scenario. You do definitely have a decent bear case scenario. A lot of people are looking at that zone. Other than that, you look at most of these markets right now, and overall, you go down to the 2-hour charts. This is not a bearish looking chart right now. This is not a bearish looking chart. Trough, peak, higher trough. We talked about the higher peak pushing into the zones. So for the Nasdaq, it's the exact same thing as the S&P 500. We push towards that 15.4 level. We find the previous support. Will it act as resistance? Time's going to tell. So they're the key kind of zones that we're looking at for today. Truly Messiah says it fills the gaps, bounces, and Wall Street is sneaky. Yes. The BBC's take on the Fed yesterday was really positive. Apparently, the economy is doing great. Oh, well, that's a bit concerning when the main media is telling us what to do. SPY, which gap fills first? One at 411 or one at 441? 411 SPY gap? What the? How far back do we have to go here? You're talking about, what are we talking about here? This thing that already filled. 411. I didn't even look at gaps that far back. I wouldn't even bother. This one here. I don't look for gap closes like that one. No way. But fair enough. If I get it, I get it. This one more likely than the other one, I would say. Lunch Money says unemployment numbers are good for the Nasdaq and tapering never going to happen. There you go. That's right. So US 500, US 100, looks like there's a little bit of bullishness into the open here. Again, we've got our key resistance levels to be looking at. If you've been long in the futures, it certainly looks like there's more action to come here in the session. So hopefully that does hold up for you. Let's have a look at IWM. It closed above 220. That's following through nicely now in the pre-market, up 0.86, actually the better market to be in. And that makes some sense. Get above 220, try to push towards that 224 level. We'll see whether that ends up occurring. Move over to Tesla quickly here. Tesla up 0.85% in the morning, 758. So that's going to put the pressure on the 762 target. What do you guys think? Is today the day for Tesla? Or is this thing getting through 762? Yes or no in the chat right now. Closure above 762, big deal for it. I think we start to push the 800 marker once that occurs. Some guy told me today, he said, Tom, you don't understand anything about the market because you don't see the value in Tesla. I know, because I've been watching your chart for 4 months. And I said, I didn't say anything to him, but I'll say it to him if he's here right now. Dude, why are you still watching 4 months later if I bring no value to you? Are you just stop wasting your time, bro? Just go somewhere else. It's all good, man. It's all good. Anyway, I don't know what he was talking about, but the fact is that he believes in Tesla, guys. So he's with you and he wants it to go through the 762, I'm sure. Let's see what people say. Thomas D says no. Greg Kirby says yes. FAFP44 says not today, sunshine. And then Finkin79, yes, and a whole bunch of others, yes. Gap downs always fill, says Lieutenant Dan. Okay. Do you have a stat for me on that one? I like stat. It was Harry. Yeah. It was Harry, guys. Come back. Look, I like the trend line. I also, of course, would love to see the 762 breakout. That would be fantastic on Tesla. And at this stage, it's looking okay. In many ways, look at this, guys. You got that gap. It's trying to fill, yeah? I guess it's filled to the low, so that's fine. Let's go through some more stocks. Few people want Facebook. Let's have a look at Facebook. Then we'll get into the crypto quickly here and have a look at that. So Facebook down underneath the 350. Do you like this level? I don't. That's the middle of nowhere land. It's like throwing a dart at the wall, except that there's another person standing there and they're like, please don't hit me, please don't hit me. And then you accident and then you miss them. So luckily you missed them, but you do not want to necessarily just buy that. That looks rando. It's closed below the 350. Previous support, previous support, previous support. It's underneath our trend line. It kind of looks sick. What do you guys think? Does that look sick? It doesn't look great. Take a look at the weekly. I mean, 50 exponential incoming. That's around that 320 by the time it gets down there, if it does. I don't know about Facebook. Not loving it. I am not loving it. Amazon, let's take a look at that one. It's dialing back into some love, but it needs to get above 3,400. So 3,400 is one of the key levels you'll be looking at. Previous resistance, support. We know it rallied last time to the 35. A little bit of a base forming here on the smaller time frame. So you could probably dial in maybe to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the 1 hour. Oh, yeah. Certainly is making a series. It's actually got a little trend line on it. Probably dial this even more into a 15-minute, 5-minute chart here. Wowzers. Just pushing up there through the session. Great little trend line to follow for both bullishness and weakness. Apple looks great today. Let's take a look at Apple. 0.86%. Filled the zone, 147. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. 147. Yeah, Apple looks relatively good. I mean, it hit our low that we expected to be the big base. 141, 142 was our big base there. Which chart do you think Apple looks so good on? I mean, it looks like it's going up, but it doesn't look like it's had any pullback in it. It's just kind of like, I felt it was easier to trade there, honestly. At this point, yeah, it looks all right, I guess. Let's take a look at Google. Google's filled the gap. Again, a turnaround could be here if it is going to occur. The FANG stocks are the ones I'm watching. Let's actually have a look at the FANG index itself. FANG index. Let's go to the weekly. Didn't even touch the 20. It's been away from the 20 for a while here. All righty. Charles Sanders says, I sure hope you're wrong. Tesla and MBIS. What is that? Finkin79 says, does anyone still use Facebook? It's not just Facebook, it's all the other businesses they have. Supposedly Unity is ripping. Let's have a look at Unity. Yeah. 139.42. Nice. Close back above the 20 moving average. A little bit of consolidation down here, looking to break out above this. Holds that close. I mean, yes, you will like Unity because the next level, 150, 165. Probably wouldn't go too greedy. There's some serious potential here in Unity. We took profit there, but I could see you getting back in on that one. Absolutely. Volume is heavy too. So there was some strong buying in the last couple of sessions, which is great. Zillow. Just still looking. Downward trend line still intact at this point. Nothing changes here on Zillow. We just watch. And oh my God, I'm ready if it does happen. I am ready if it does happen. Thank you very much to the 932 people joining us this morning. Fortunately, it is a slightly reduced stream today, but we'll just keep powering through a couple of stocks here. AMD back above. That's a pretty strong rally there from AMD. Nice big rejection. I'm surprised it got that through. Closed above, closed the gap. If you're in it, you're feeling a little bit better. Is there a trade? Probably not. Maybe the smaller time frames. Airbnb, 171, new high. That's cool. 171.40, not quite. Yeah. Nice work, Airbnb. Slowly recovering. And DKNG still in the zone, waiting for further information. Check out little long leg doji there. Waiting for some turnaround story on DKNG. Nvidia. Anyone that did pick up our red zone is happy now. Anyone get that one? Let us know in the room. Resistance, support. It's an excellent buy zone. Well done. Christopher Weltmer says, told you all yesterday, BNGO. BNGO. Sounds kind of like bingo. The bingo. Bianimo. Why? 5.2% yesterday. Oh, I don't know if we should be that excited about this stock, man. It's down quite a lot. You have to get a very... How many days have we called it there? Or was it just specifically yesterday? Hey, I'll tell you what. I like what could happen for you in the future. You do have the potential of a double bottom into a bigger double bottom. So firstly, there's a great base formation should it occur, should it close it back above. You can see here in these biotechnologies, there's massive movements that can occur. Let's take a look at the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, I actually could see why you might have taken that. Closure there with a base like this, with all this indecision, you finally get out of the indecision. It does cause, that's a good little day trade. Base, resistance. You need a closure above 560, and then we move towards the $6. It's okay. Glenn says, lol, what a joke. What's a joke, Glenn? What's going on there? Intel. Intel slothing its way back up 0.41% in pre-market here. I still like Intel into the November play. Earnings in October, so that might be a little bit scary. But yeah, long leg doji. Looking for a closure above that so we can resume going back up. That's what we want. Volume has been increased for 2 days. Barack says, would you call ADSK an inverse head and shoulders on the 4 hour? Let's have a look at ADSK, Autodesk. I can see what you're looking at. Just remember, with inverse head and shoulders, you're looking for the right shoulder to be smaller than the left shoulder. And the reason why is you really want this aggression to come in. Think about it. If you have a right shoulder that's smaller, well, all a right shoulder is actually a lightning bolt. But it's showing that the market wasn't able to pressure back down to the same level. So it's basically saying that there's so much momentum, there's so much buildup of power and pressure from the buyers that they're committed to pick it up earlier and they push it through. regardless of what you want to call it, and this is why I always say with patterns, it's more about understanding the market action. If you close above this level here, you do have a significant runway here. And yes, that is starting to base through after its bad result. So correct. Conscious Investing says the first time in a long time, the 20 and the 50 are closing downside. That's correct. And that's why it's so important. I'll show you guys what we're talking about here. They haven't got underneath yet, but this 20 and 50, this is why the market must recover very soon if it is going to, has not closed against each other in some time. Let's have a look. Let's actually play it. What's that? Wow, the entire time since the pandemic, we have not had a 2050 closure below. So the whole time. And it's actually pretty rare, but you'll notice a lot of the time, by the time it's closed below each other, that's actually near the end of the pullback. There are sometimes it goes further during a big correction, but in most corrections, see that cross? Very close to the low. Cross, basically the low. This one, further. This one crosses here. And remember, it's the candle after the close, what you think it is. So it's basically the low. So the 2050 cross actually can very regularly be the low, which is hilarious in itself. $4.99 coming in from RB2223. Thank you very much. Tom wanted to know what a good stop loss percentage I should select for options. Seems like whatever percentage I set gets hit when the price moves back up. Stop loss percentage. Oh, so you mean to reverse it and get out of your trade? I don't know what type of option you're trading, man. Options is all about where you put it. It's like anything. It's if you trade a CFD, if you're putting it in the wrong location and you're not realizing the key zones like we were discussing right in the middle here for the SPX today, if it does get back up there, and you place a sell here and then you have a stop loss here, you're going to get hit every time. It's probably your stop losses that need to be worked on there for options. So it's all about your entry and making sure you're putting your entry and your stop losses in the right zones. There's no percentage to it unless you found a pattern. I'll give you a tip. 10 to 15% behind the pattern. Adobe, ADBE. Let's take a look. Created a bullish hammer, but probably a little bit early to tell whether that's great. If you like it and you're looking for the gap close, this market is going to open above the resist, above that high, just. So if it gets maybe a few minutes through on the bull, then you can look for that movement if you want to. Not a huge fan of picking these types of ones up, but if you like the company, then yes. And look, the volume was up huge. Look at the volume because of the gap. Chantal has the right answer in many ways. My stop losses are below the last swing, low. Now leaving it there is the real problem. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, swings are good. Unfortunately, I can't really answer your question better than that, though. Boeing still below our overall trend line from the lows. It's basing, which is good news. Probably wouldn't really pay that much attention to that. Basing, let's go to the weekly. Okay, daily. Probably need a lot of more work to get through. I would like it more if it gets past this zone. But I have liked Boeing once before, and I think it slapped me around. So, yeah. Probably want it above that trend line. It's basing. Look for volume increases soon. Hopefully that does occur. Bradley B says, you can see options prices on charts on some brokers, Webull, TD Ameritrade. I use that to look for structure. I would with a stock. Yeah, look, again, with options pricing and stuff, it's just about finding your correct locations, guys. You got to trigger the right locations. everything is location, location, location. Just like in housing, you don't buy the house next to the airplane or next to the park with gangsters in it, do you? Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe someone out there right now lives next to the aeroplane. But the point is, or main road, maybe main road. But the point is that it is location of your entry or location of your strike that is most important, because, of course, you put in the wrong position, you will probably get hit. I'm assuming you're talking about credits. Credits are all about locations, like Snap. If you go back over to Snap just quickly, where would you be placing your credits in this situation? Initially, you wouldn't place, even though the IV's up here, you could say, okay, well, resistance, I've seen a great result. I want to get in on this trade. I think it's going to come back down, but it's a very strong result. Where would your credit spreads be? Well, initially, you would always have here. Then you see this occur, and you still think here. And then you see this occur again, you still think here. You're basically just selling credit spreads all over that point. That's all you're doing. Just attacking that underneath zone, making sure you're in a very accurate area. So we're about 33 minutes away from the market open. Really, what I just wanted to quickly come in and show you guys today was that the market is coming up to the important zone. Bitcoin still very hard to call here. Ethereum seems to be through the 3,000 level. If you're watching Ethereum, if you're watching these crypto markets, you're hoping that it doesn't get back down underneath 3,000, then hopefully it rallies again. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that sustained rally, new peak, and I want it through 32 over the next couple of days. ADA right on support. If you like ADA, previous resistances, good structure down the bottom. This is the point where it needs to move up if it's going to 220, 2050 as well, all there. Tom, can you do TA on DNMR? DNMR. Ainmare. Oh, I don't know what this is. 1.54 billion. Doesn't look great. Yeah, it rallied, then came down. It's obviously a base area for it because it's found support around here a few times. The recovery doesn't begin until you get above this 20 something. BTC rolling over on the lower lows on the 15-minute, possibly putting in a lower high on the higher time frames. Yeah, BTC is right at that resistance area. Are you bullish on Tesla today? I'd bullish on Tesla into the 760. I would find it hard pressed to not go hit the 762 at least. And if it closes above there or even moves above there, it really could be on for Tesla. Remember, Tesla can do whatever it feels like. It can go against the rest of the market. So I don't have time to go through every single stock today, but what I want to just again reiterate to everyone that's coming in now is that you've got important zones on the S&P 500. Here are some of the levels. What we're looking for here, if we go to the SPY, is basically you're looking for the market to come back into this range. So that's going to be around this area to this area here. You're filling the gap. And then at that point, you're hitting the 50 exponential moving average. And somewhere in this zone between the 50 and the 20, you should see reversal signals if the bears are going to get back into it. Remember, the difference between this dip and every other dip since November last year is that the market has closed below the 50 in a significant, well thought out, methodical way. So if the bears truly are in control of this market, and in some ways we can almost guess they are based on the calls that we've got set for October, if they're going to turn it, they turn it here. It just is the right area for them to do it. Now, it's obviously an educated guesstimate, and I'm always optimistic on the markets, but this particular area, it makes some type of sense because you've got the 50, and in my general experience with most of these moving averages, when they've touched so many times, when it comes to touch from the bottom up, it usually finds a level of resistance at that zone. We've also got to take into consideration the amount of options, and I don't think I've got it up here, that are sitting at 450 strikes over the next coming weeks. 450, for whatever reason, the 450 calls on the SPY became huge, and I think that's just huge amounts of retail traders going bullish. Everyone was bullish a few weeks ago. People were literally just yelling at you if you weren't anything about neutral or negative, and then they bought those calls. So there's 450 calls expiring 15th of October, and there's a lot of them. So watch the daily video if you're not aware of that. So this is the key zone, and it's the same thing for the Nasdaq. We're looking for it to get back up to that 15. Where is it right now? Actually, it's 15,228. So you're looking at it actually to move back to around 15,3, kind of 30 in the market, somewhere in this area. Test the 20 from the bottom up, and then find some resistance. Have I done gold? No, haven't done gold. Let's check it out. 1762, gold rejected that zone, which probably was a pretty good, it was a good take profit. There was a good trade there up, and then it's a good trade down. Look for it to get underneath 17, was this 59, move towards 1744. And I just feel like based on that chart I just had a look at then, gold looks terrible. All the way back down, it seems. I'll put in the zones. Probably about there. I'm not even sure if that last low will hold. That's a pretty bearish looking daily. Big pin bar rejection, shooting star, follow on. This closes bearish as well. We move into the low. We move to 1720 and possibly even the 1680. For that all to happen, DXY will have to bull as well. DXY will have to bull. The daily videos are live. Thank you, Tom, from Miami, Florida. I hope to eventually come over to America and definitely visit the great Miami, the great New York. I'm sure all of the places that you guys live are great, but I wouldn't mind going to both of those. And then, of course, I'm sure I'll end up in Cali and Vegas and all those other places. It'll be good. Absolutely. Which Binance leverage tokens should I hodl for the next 90 days? And come on, I'm not going to tell you that, Carl. You gotta make your own decisions. But I'll say one thing: if you're taking leverage tokens with proper risk, let's say, you should be looking at quality over crap. Crap sometimes pays off, but quality during the crashes doesn't move as much. So you can afford to not get maybe liquidated in those. Jager Croft, Canadian $10. Thank you very much. Morning, Tom. What's your take on ATR? We'll do this one to finish up here. ATR, 14.6 million shorted, 99.5% utilization, 54.5% interest. I got in at $7. Oh, congratulations. Well, my take was it was recovering. It's closed above that 9er. It's come back down. I think we talked about it here, about this 910 level. I mean, it looks relatively strong. Obviously, today, pre-market, you're down 2. But it doesn't look weak. It's a complete guess, man. That's not really... I mean, at least it held that technically. Let's have a look at how it rallied last time. Maybe you can get something from that. So the rally went to the 50 exponential on the 15-minute. So that's probably where you want it to hold above. So I think my take on it is make sure it holds the moving average that it went up last time on. And that's probably the best thing you can do. Make sure it holds whatever this one is. Go do research on that. And then make sure it holds up that way. And if it is holding up that way, then you've got more chance, of course, of continuing with the trend. And if it closes underneath, then you might have to scale it off. $18 is the first target. However, I think you'd be looking for more if it's going back up here. All right, guys. Sorry to cut it short today. I will be back tomorrow with another video. And of course, I'll be back with a live stream tomorrow. And if you have any questions, always feel free to post them in our Discord community. There's a lot of helpful people there. Of course, the private community is also available. US 100 currently dropping off. So if it doesn't end up going into filling the gap like it did during the futures market, your key zones to be looking at on the support side, nothing's really changed. You've basically just got that previous resistance. So the Nasdaq, it futures, it comes down here. If you're looking for the rally, you're looking for it here, and you're looking for that turnaround. S&P, similar kind of thing. If you're looking for the rally, previous 4,400. 4,400 is the support. The top is up here. And that's really the main stuff. Good luck, everyone. Looks like we're going to be stuck in that range. Let's find out whether it buys off this bottom dip early here and freaks all the retailers out and then moves up. Or if it gets underneath that, let the floodgates of the bears come open. And then we can move back down and finally get what I want. Because if I was to get a Christmas present, guys, if you'd like to give Tom here I want a Christmas present. I'm sure you guys do too. What I wanted to see is this baby right here. Oh, yeah. If this came in, the excitement would be real. Can you imagine, guys? Oh, so beautiful. That trend line on the way up. And you know why I like it even more? It means that we can keep using our trend line on the way up here. Oh, it's so beautiful. So if you wanted to go with the best looking chart right now, if that occurred, I would be very, very excited. Catch you, everyone. Bye for now.